Welcome one, welcome all to a special edition, well I guess it is anyway, of Spearhead Podcast Live with me, Steve BCee. We'll be here for the next couple of hours. Great to see so many people commenting already. Natalie Hooper, I'm glad to see you've noticed that Sally has changed again this week. I did just change her glasses and wonder if anyone had noticed. Big up John Reachhill, hope everything's okay over there, mate, and you're getting out. Big up Ann Tennant, good to see the family members tuning in. Big up Mark Lanchester, after the show last week. Actually left here and walked down to the local chip shop. Me and my Andy and the girls had chips with Mark Lanchester and Bridget, so big up. We can't do it today, I'm afraid, because watching the old calories. Big up Rob Bonney, podcast notification woke you up. Ember on the Twitch, couple of people on Twitch this week, that's obviously catching on. So yeah, I thought today, for a couple of reasons I'll be honest with you, but I thought we'd have a little look back at the last 15 years of Spearhead Records releases. Play some stuff that hasn't been played for ages. This one playing right now, it's called Rolling with the Punches. It's by B Complex and it features Diane Charlemagne, who obviously is sadly no longer with us. I won't add any further comment. I meant about the whole thing, not just about Diane. Diane was absolutely fantastic and very, very much missed. She voiced so many amazing D&B tunes. I think it's called Bullets, one of the ones with Calibre, probably my favourite one that she features on. Anyway, yeah, so I thought we'd have a look back at the back catalogue. You please get your requests in for stuff. The older the better, really. I want to look back at some old stuff today. I will admit that one of the reasons I've done this today is because I thought I'd reformat my USB sticks this week, make sure I refreshed all the tunes, and my tune organisation had become such a mess since lockdown that I figured I had all week to sort it out, and got to today and realised my tunes were still in an absolute mess. So I wiped all of my USB sticks, well, the ones I used to DJ, and uploaded the entire Spearhead Records, BCee and Vanguard Project catalogues onto them. We'll play some new stuff today. I'm going to play you a couple of bits from the forthcoming album with me and Charlotte. When I went for chips with Mark and Bridget last week, they told me that they have a new game, and it's how many times do I say Charlotte Haining and LSB in the podcast. I wish, Bridget, I know you don't drink, so it's a shame, because it would have made a big, if I knew it was a drinking game, I would have just said Charlotte LSB about 50 times. Anyway, I'm going to let this one play. This one is Me. It's called Consumed. It's the original mix. It came out before the Generations EP. I think this was my first solo BCee track, although Nick Lomax did help me with the tune very much. Okay, so anyway, get your requests in. I'm going to have a flick through. I've got most of the catalogue here with me. 1 Year On wasn't on Spearhead. Somebody's already requested that. It's actually on Inner Ground, so I might not have it on here. If I have, I will play it. Wicked, big up. This one then is called Don't Look Back. It was taken from the Bungle album called Memories. I can't remember how long ago that one came out. Vinyls for this, long gone. Vinyls for quite a few of these releases that I'll play today. Maybe even Rolling with the Punches. I'm not sure if there's any of them left over there or not. But vinyls for a lot of the stuff I'll play today are available on spearheadrecords.bandcamp.com. So do head over there. Also, you can now get the pre-order of the BCee Charlotte Haining album. It's called Life As We Know It. And we're doing a double pack gatefold. I've only got an allocation of 200 copies. There will be a few more than that, but the distributors have to have the rest. So we've got 200 copies to sell. Put it on pre-order a couple of days ago. It's going to be out in September. We've brought the release date forward a bit by popular demand, so it will be out in September, which I know is a while away, but we've sold like 100 of the 200 double vinyl packs. Also, I will drive them over to Charlotte and Mike's, and we will sign them all, as long as we haven't had a second wave of COVID or something by then, which let's hope not. So yeah, this one then is Don't Look Back by Bungle. I'm noting all the requests. What I'm going to try and do, if I can, is I'll pick the ones out that are in a similar key that I can actually attempt to mix together. We don't have to, but we'll have a go. I'm going to play Back to the Street next. It's one of the bigger tunes. Let's get that one out of the way and try and find some more obscure ones. One other thing is, if you check out Spearhead Records, if you check out youtube.com/Spearhead Records Ltd, this week I have on a major facelift of the YouTube channel. Not really bothered with YouTube before, but nearly the entire back catalogue of Spearhead is now on that YouTube channel as well. Right, Night Sky with Exit Wounds from Vanguard Project, also not on Spearhead. It's on Focus, but we'll see. Saw a comment asking if there'd be any more Spearhead Records slip mats. This little pile here is it, and I'm not going to be doing any more. It's taken 6 years to sell the ones I ordered, so there's not really the demand for it, I'm afraid. But they're up for grabs somewhere. they're not in the Bandcamp, then they're on spearheadrecords.co.uk, which is reopening 1st of July. Also, to all of you admiring the Pac-Man Ghost, Hamleys in the centre of London is where that came from. I told a story last week about that.
Going back to the streets. Going back to the streets.
Every week someone seems to ask for a track list. I don't know what I'm going to play, so I can't give you a track list yet, I'm afraid. But I will name check all the tracks as I go along, and if anybody can be bothered to go through and put them in the comments, great. Even better, 90% of what I'm going to play today is already released on Spearhead, if not more. And so just follow the Spear playlist on Spotify, and they'll all appear in there. I'll do it straight after the show. Mark Newtone is on hospital. I'm not playing him today, as much as I love Dan. This one then is part of Hybrid Mind's Mountains remixed album. Also features Philippa Hanna on vocals, the same vocalist as from Back to the Street. This is the Total Science remix. And big up Philippa, I saw she'd clicked on one of the things earlier on. I have made a track with Dave, aka Ember, featuring Philippa Hanna, which is going to be out as a single next month on Spearhead Records. It's called Galaxy. I've played it once or twice on here. And yeah, some more stuff with Philippa Hanna in the pipeline. So big up Philippa. Hope you are good.
Where the cold blows. Show me the way home. Show me the way home. When I don't know which way to go. Show me the way home. Show me the way home. When I don't know which way to go. Show me the way home. Show me the way home. When I don't know which way to go. Show me the way home. Show me the way home.
Yes, the old lockdown beard is getting stronger by the week. I do keep getting tempted to cut it off, but it's not happening just yet. Just having a check back through all of your requests. Also, I forgot to say, if you want one of these suckers, the classic Spearhead Records College design. They're back in at spearheadrecords.bandcamp.com and the pre-order. Please go and check it out. Show some love. Right, we're going to go back to, I had a request for this one a minute ago. We're going to go back in time to one of the first Spear releases. This one is by Mutt, aka Sean Roman. I think he lives in Germany now, maybe Berlin, but he's from Canada. This one is called Kush Talk. Quite heavy sampling, but I love the groove on this. So yeah, I'm going to try and work my way through some of your requests. Let's do it.
You had to categorize your music in a word. Could you? What would you say?
I just say it was raw.
A lot of these older tunes, mega intros, because they were all made for vinyl when it took a lot longer to mix than just pressing a few buttons. But it's got the funk. So if you want to hear these uninterrupted by my dulcet tones, of course you can just check the playlist out. The link is in the description for this as well, and I'll put them all in there at the end. And I will archive the show as well. It'll be available on Facebook, YouTube, everywhere else. So you can listen back as well if you've missed any. Big up to my main man, Hans Kendall, who has basically got an afro during lockdown. He's just sent me a picture of himself. Now, if you don't know Hans, which I don't expect you to, he's a guy that I grew up with, really, really good friend of mine, and one of the people that got me into drum and bass, which not a lot of people know. So back when I didn't even know what drum and bass was, there would be Hans with his Walkman, with all of the One in the Jungle tape packs, Fabio, lending me tapes. So big up Hans. Partly you are the foundation of what got me into drum and bass. Hope you're well, bruv. Well, what a tune. I've forgotten how good some of these are. I listened to Rolling with the Punches earlier, the track that I started with, and I was like, where the heck has this sucker been? So I'm pretty happy with some of these signings. And yeah, I should tell you more about how some of them came about. So, Mutt, I think just sent me stuff on AIM back in the day. And I like to use the samples. Anyway, I'm going to play you a track now, Lat. If it were part of the drinking game, you would have to take a drink on it. It's from Luke LSB. And let me just get the timing right. So this is from his EP called About Tonight, which came out as a picture disc a few years back. Luke LSB, I know because he was a student in Norwich. Norwich is the closest city to me. Him and another guy called Kerry Negus, released as Negus and a few other things. Kerry used to run a record shop called Bounce in Norwich, so I used to go and shop in Bounce, the record shop, buy my vinyls. And him and Luke together used to promote a night in Norwich called Bounce, and it was a massive night run at the UEA. Andy C, me. Although I was like the token booking because I used to buy records back then, and loads of others. Absolutely fantastic night. So Luke used to run that, and I used to send him some of my early tracks, and then would go up to the night and he'd play them, and it was wicked. And he hadn't had anything signed then either. And then a few years later, he started sending me music, and the first tracks I signed from him were the one at Technomatic remix that I played last week, Rolling Sideways, and what the heck is it called? Somebody flipping tell me. All of This Love. Gave you all my love, all of my love. So there you go, that's how I know Luke, and we've stayed good friends ever since. So this one then, About Tonight. There is more music from LSB coming on Spearhead very soon. I'm going for the 100. This one then was something like Spear 007, I think. Rob Bonnie, Back to the Streets has 205,000 views. Respect. I'm not sure where you're looking to see that's got 205,000 views, but if you look on Spotify, it's got over 5 million. So I'm pretty happy with that. I'm not going to lie. This one is, Spearhead Records number 7. It's one of Alex Perez's early tracks. It's called All Alone. It was on a vinyl with a Red Eyes track called Behind Closed Doors on the other side. And this is one that AOL Instant Messenger is how everybody in drum and bass used to communicate. You could just kind of get somebody's handle, if you like, and just have Messenger open and just send them a message and say, do you want to do me a tune? So it's so easy to contact people. It was the best thing to happen for sharing music. And I just sent Alex Perez a message early on that said, would you like to release some music with me? And he sent me this, All Alone. So it came out and done pretty well. And that was how I found a lot of the early tracks. We might have a play of Glitter Balls in a little while. Yes. Yes, Simon, Misguided was your first Spearhead vinyl. Misguided was the first Spearhead release. So there you go. Rob Bonnie, how many Vanguard releases have there been? Like 11 EPs and an album, I think, and a few others. This one then, LSB, remixed by Technicolor and Chromatic, who then, of course, joined forces permanently to become Technimatic, which I thought was pretty cool. I met Pete Rogers, aka Technicolor, when he came out to Ibiza to write up about the first Hospitality Ibiza event that I was promoting, and he gave me some tunes then. He hadn't really had anything released at that point, and we kept in touch, and then him and Andy Chromatic made this beast of a remix. Okay, let's answer a couple more questions. So, In the Moment t-shirts, if you ordered an In the Moment t-shirt, they will be sent out the second they arrive for me. The people that make them are struggling because they have got to try and maintain social distancing whilst printing t-shirts. That is usually a 2-person job. So they will get there. Yeah, so it was a pre-order initially. I did put on there it will be around about 3 weeks, which it probably is around now. So I'm expecting them any day, and I will get them to you as soon as I can. I hate when people say all the time. I've started doing it today. Sorry about that. 2005, 2007 was when I lived in Ibiza, and it was a real pinnacle time for the label. I was actually running the label mainly from an internet cafe for most of that time. I didn't have the internet in my apartment. I just went to the internet cafe with like USB sticks in town and contacted people when I could on AIM, and then went back the next day and did some more and used the phone box when I needed to ring people up because you couldn't really do it from a mobile. It was too expensive back then. Anyway, I met so many people at that time, and one of them people that came out as a warm-up DJ for the hospitality night there was Carlos Spy, and he was the newcomer. He'd had like one med school release signed, and so they were giving him a break, and I kept in touch with Carlos. We got on well, and he sent me a batch of tunes that ended up coming out on Spearhead. And so, yeah, I mean, I look back and I'm not really sure how it's happened, but when I look back and see I've got some of the first releases from Netsky, from Spy, from Lensman, Lomax, me, I can't even think who else now, but a lot of people who've been on Spearhead, Alex Perez, have gone on to do really, really well. And I think it's just because I've met people that are also hungry for doing this as a job rather than just a one-off thing. And yeah, I don't know. But anyway, I'm going to play you one of, this might have been the first Spy track that I released, I'm not sure. I'm going to play you a track next called Sunship, and I love it. Yeah, I have got Star's LSB remix, but it ain't on my label, so it's not for today, I'm afraid. several requests for this one. Another Spy track. This track, do you know what? Spy made this track, and it'd been around for ages as a dub plate. We were unsure about it because of some of the sounds he'd used in it. And I was actually walking around, I think I might have told this story as well, but anyway, I was walking around a Dis auction. We have a big auction near us. Yes, I live in a place called Dis, and the auction is called Gaze. So it's interesting titles around here. Anyway, I was walking around there one day having a look, and Spy rang me up and said, "You've got to release By Your Side." So because it'd been on a dub plate for so long, I thought we need to freshen it up a bit. Matt Logistics had told me a couple of times how much he loved the original track. So I gave him a call, and the By Your Side Logistics remix was born. Spearhead Limited 2, I think. There's also a Whiny and Keno remix of this, and a BCee and Hybrid Minds remix of this, which are on the spearheadbandcamp.com if you fancy a listen. Spearhead 64, by the way, was Mutated Forms Let You Go EP. I'll pull out something from that in a minute. Other than remixes I've done, Logistics has done more remixes for Spearhead than anybody else. But it's just because I know if I get Logistics to do a remix, I'm going to be happy with it. He just smashes it, right? One of my favourite ever released, actually, it was Spearhead number 9, was Blue Sonic's Love Me Logistics remix. I will play that in a little while if I can find it. Would Logistics do remixes now, or is he exclusive to Hospital? He is exclusive to Hospital, but he is available for remixes, and he has just remixed my garage track First Love with Charlotte Haining. There you go, another drink, which is available exclusively on our forthcoming album, Life as We Know It, which of course you can pre-order from spearheadrecords.bandcamp.com. And if you want a vinyl pack of that, don't hang about, head there and grab one as soon as this finishes, or now. This track playing now, it's called You Make Me Feel, or You MK Me Feel. My favourite bit, hang on. This is a Vanguard Project one, and yeah, so I went to a friend of mine's house, and he played me this piano. He played me a track with a bit of piano at the end, and he said, I heard this and I thought it sounded like one of your tunes and you could make it into a tune. So I noted down what the track was, took that piano sample and made it into a track with Drew. This is one of the early Spearhead Limited releases. It's from Technicolor on his own, before he was part of Technimatic. And this one's called Winter Rose, and it's one of my favourite tracks on the label.
This lonely winter.
First Philip McLeod track on Spearhead, I think, is one called Sarah's Smile, which was on the first Spearhead Presents album. But they also produced a lot of Ria's stuff, so I can't remember which one came first.
This lonely winter. With you, with you, with you, with you, with you, with you.
It's a little bit like the Back to the Streets piano in there. Yes, big up David Ruggles, one of my oldest compadres. These days, when I get together with Pete Technimatic, we normally just talk about weird things our kids have done, because we both have daughters at the same ages. It's funny how conversations change over the years. We are so middle-aged, middle class, it's unreal. But you are what you are. The other thing I love about Pete Technimatic is he goes deep on the samples. Wherever he goes, I've played gigs with him in other countries where he's off. He's up in the morning, he's off, like finding a record shop to flick through obscure records that you can't get anywhere else. And all that sample hunting pays off in the tunes. Well, in anticipation of when we get to go out and DJ and rave again, I've started working on a new batch of tracks, kind of exclusively ready for my sets when we can get going again. So I'm going to play you an old track, but a relic that got made this week. This one's called Cut Me Loose, features Rocky NT. It was a collab with me and Hybrid Minds on my Come and Join Us album. And this is like, I guess, the 2020 VIP. I will play Technicolor Centrifuge. I hope I don't forget to. It's one of my favourite tracks on the label, and it's the second or something highest streamed on the label as well. Right, check this one then out. Brand new version of Cut Me Loose featuring Rocky NT, me and Hybrid Minds. Interesting question. Did I collab with Hybrid Minds on the VIP too? No, I made the VIP. But yes, because they made half the original sounds. So yeah, kind of like, I don't know. It is what it is. Yes, shout to the mint cake.
Dark
So Rocky's featured on quite a few drum and bass tracks. He was the voice of Jack Wobb Live, which is how he met Everwood. Everwood was playing the guitar for a Jack Wobb Live. They made Spoken together, that got signed to Hospital. I remixed a track for Jack Wobb. I then saw Rocky at a gig, asked Rocky to do some drum and bass. Jack Wobb wasn't best pleased about that, but we wrote Lost and Found. And Rocky's a flipping genius, right? So sent him some tracks. He hasn't done anything for a while, so I booked him to come up to mine to record some stuff. Booked a vocal booth in a local studio in Windfarthing called The Mill, that I use a lot. Big shout to Johnny Cole. And Rocky, I said, like, I'll send you some other tracks, see what you can do. He had about a 2.5-hour train journey from Milton Keynes, and he turned up and he's just like, yeah, I just wrote all these tracks for all your pieces of music whilst I was on the train. Unreal. The guy's got some skills. At the moment, he's he does a lot of music in church, and still some other bits and pieces. He's definitely still around and very active, and I want to get him on some drum and bass very soon. He said he's up for it. Difficult to pin down, Rocky. Let's make it happen. Big shout to Johnny Mike Kiss as well. Been playing your tunes, Johnny. Love the new EP. Right, I'm going to play this other Technicolor tune, Centrifuge. I'm going to play Pete's VIP version. Cut me loose. Keep flicking for it. I want to play you everything. Could have done like a 10-hour show. Maybe we'll have to do a part 2 in a few weeks' time. Mark Lanchester, you keep requesting tracks that aren't on Spearhead. Let's Fall in Love is a BCee remix on Rocky's own label. Come on, bruv. So the thing I've always looked for in tunes, and this is still the case, and I think this is why the label's done so well, is whenever I've listened to tracks for demos, for signing for the label, I've always been interested in one thing, and that is there a hook in this? Is there something about this track that in 10 years' time, I'm going to still be like, oh yeah, that's the tune, that guitar riff, it's the tune with that vocal, it's the tune with that really weird bass line that I'm not used to. I've never been one to want to sign tracks that are like, yeah, it's kind of a generic liquid roller. A lot of people do. They work well in a club. It's just not what I'm interested in. So if you want me to sign something, it's got to have something that makes you go, oh, I'll still be interested in this in 10 years. This is like 10 years old. Still sounds fresh. Right, for the sake of how many tunes I want to get in today and the requests, I'm going to have to cut a few of these short, but you can go and check them out in the Spotify playlist, link in the description of this, or just search Spearhead Presents on Spotify. Another artist that I have released, I ever worked with Mutt. Yeah, like loads of tunes. Played one already today. Mutt's had loads of tunes out on Spearhead. He's quite a character. I'll leave that there. Haven't played any Psycon tracks yet, but Psycon tracks are next level. Anyway, I was going to say this one is by Seba. It's called Welcome to Our World. This is one of the first Seba tracks I released. Seba, vast history of music. Really lovely to be able to get to work with Seba. He's got a new EP that he's working on at the moment. He's done 2 or 3 other EPs, and his music always does well, and it's just that little bit different. Check this out. It's called Welcome to Our World. I was going to play the Need for Mirrors Mother of Pearl track that was requested. Weirdly, I seem to have the other ones on that EP and not that track on here. Sorry about that. You know what, this is going horribly wrong at the moment. I was going to play Psycon Subway Writers, and that's not on here either because it's too new, and I've only put quite a lot of old stuff on here. Let's go for the next one I can find on your requests. The Ghost of Pac-Man does respond to the music, but it only responds to noise. So, yeah. So, I mean, it's a kid's toy. I'm a big kid. I like it. bear with me on the old Need for Mirrors thing. I've seen the picture of the artwork, and I must have called the tune the wrong name because it's not in alphabetical order. If I can find it, I'll play it. Okay, going to play you a remix of another guy that I've made a few tracks with, and a good friend of mine, Devon Gray, aka Blade Runner. So this is his remix of an earlier requested track. This is The Siren by Bungle featuring I Am Ra, and this is Blade Runner's remix, which still absolutely bangs. I'm going to go and get a drink and have a little break. I'll be back in 2 minutes. Did have a new idea for a feature, actually. Sally's top tune of the week, so look out for that coming soon. Big Complex rolling with the punches. Started off the show with that one. If you want to go back and check it out, you can. So, request for this one, Mile High Club featuring MC Favor. This is from Utah Jazz, aka Luke Wilson. I met Luke in Belgium when I had a residency out there at City Flow, and it was my birthday, and that was a mistake. So I thought I'd go out with Luke for some dinner. We had a nice steak and a bottle of wine. But then I didn't know Luke back then, and he does like a drink. I did manage to play my set, but I'm not proud to say I did end up at the hotel pretty early, and I travelled home on a Eurostar in the toilet cubicle the entire way, and it weren't a good look. And I think it was like, I was at least 38. I mean, I hadn't been that way for some years. Anyway, we bonded over that, and since then I put out 2 albums from Utah Jazz. So there you go. So Mile High Club featuring MC Favour. Luke Utah Jazz has kind of disappeared now. He looks after his kids. He's more of a stay-at-home dad these days. And hopefully he'll make some more music, but who knows? Let's let this one play.
You gotta get away, sis. You gotta get away, sis. Away with that sound. You gotta get away, sis. Get away.
Oh yeah, it was Jägermeister that got us into trouble, actually.
She got a look upon her face. You know the dangerous embrace. Get away, you notice what? Oh, yeah. You know you slip until you slide. You know you got to lose this fight. Get away, the time is right. Oh, yeah. Get away, the time is right. Freeze away, you gotta get away, sis. You gotta get away, sis. You gotta get away, sis. Away with that sound. You gotta get away, sis. Get away with that sound. And listen.
Well, a few requests for this one as well. This is Love Me Logistics remix. Paul Felipe says I've got a cooler style now than when I was interviewed in that Christian music magazine about 15 years back. I don't think so. Some of the best tracks are about that time. I do know the interview you mean though, because they really struggled with the fact that they couldn't get their head round. They kept wanting to pigeonhole me to say, did I make Christian music or not? And my answer was, I am a Christian. It might be a surprise to you. I'm a Christian. I make music. Does that make it Christian music? I don't know. If I'm a Christian, I make a car. Does it become a Christian car? And they couldn't really handle that. And obviously, you know, I'm in the minority of Spearhead artists that are Christians, so it's definitely not a Christian music label. And that really, really freaked them out. They didn't know how to get their head around it. And I must admit, I really, really took pleasure and enjoyed the fact that that freaked them out and they didn't know how to get their head around it, because that's how I roll. Anyway, here we go. Love Me Logistics remix, one of my favourites. This track came about, by the way, because Blue Sonics, who was such an amazing liquid producer, hardly any of his tunes are available. Have a look on YouTube, they might be on there. Such a good producer. He's several years older than me. I don't know how old he is. Ricky Blue, his name is. And he came and played for us at Rubik's Cube in Bristol. And then he slept on Doug Kubik's sofa. And I think I slept on the floor. Doug obviously took the bed. And anyway, we then chatted. He gave us this tune. The original version came out on my last label, Rubik Records. And this we gave an extra boost to Spearhead. I have still got the stems for this tune. If you don't know what I'm talking about, it's the production term for all the individual sounds. Maybe there is going to be a VIP BCee version on the way. I'd like to do that, actually. Watch this space, I don't know if I can do it justice. Thing is, the logistics version's a lot heavier than the original. I don't think I'd make it so heavy. We'll see. A lot of requests for this one too then. Rocky NT again on vocals. Vanguard Project special treatment on this one.
You never gave in. No matter what, you always looked up. I hope you can see me from there, 'cause I can see you. Oh. Yes, I can see you. You touched me, tried your fingertips in my veins. You saved me when there was nowhere to go. Yes, you loved me, and now everything has changed since you touched me. You touched me, tried your fingertips in my veins. Save me when there was nowhere to go. Yes, you loved me, and now everything has changed since you touched me.
So let me tell you a story about this one then. This track was written, I was kind of working on the instrumental already. I had a good friend called Gerald who he'd been a family friend for sort of 20 years, and he got addicted to heroin 20 years previously to when this happened, and he used to say, you know, he had 7 months of pleasure for about 17 years of pain. So yeah, he took heroin for like 7 months, and he spent the rest of his life trying to get over it. He was in a really, really good place when he you can tell the end of the story as he passed away, but he was in a very, very good place. He used to come and see us most days, and then one Easter Monday he was due to come around for dinner and he didn't turn up, and I popped round to see if he was there. His front door was a little bit open, and I opened the door, and there he was. He'd passed away and he was laying on the floor. And it was one of the most flipping weirdest things I've ever experienced. And he's very sadly missed. And I wish he could have heard this tune and seen how well it done. It's done loads of streams. It's done loads of plays in clubs. And so I talked to Rocky about this story. In fact, I'm just going to rewind this little bit. I wouldn't normally do this in the middle of a tune. But let's just rewind this in the middle of this and let this breakdown play. So I told Rocky this story. Gerald had found God. He'd like cleaned up his life. He'd got rid of the heroin out of his veins. And I talked to Rocky about this. And Rocky came out with these lyrics off the back of that story. And I mean, I couldn't play this in a club for a while for obvious reasons. And there's a stripped back version of this on the Lost and Found album, which we actually walked his coffin into the funeral with. So there you go. It's a bit more serious than I normally go on the podcast. But with that in mind, check this.
I hope you can see me from there. Yes, I can see you. I hope you can see me from there. 'Cause I can see you. You touched me, dragged your fingertips in my veins. You saved me when there was nowhere to go. Yes, you loved me, and now everything has changed since you touched me.
On a lighter topic, do I find it hard to remix myself as the Vanguard project? I actually find it easier to remix my own tunes than other people's because I kind of know what I want. And, you know, my BCee tracks, they're quite versatile. I like to make some heavy stuff, some chilled stuff. So I actually find it kind of easier. I must admit, though, Drew found that double bass sample. I redid the beats in this, just modernised it a bit. And then when he found that double bass thing, it was like, he just chopped it up, redid it, replayed it. Magic. Well, there you go. Right, somebody I haven't played before, but I've had quite a lot of tracks on Spearhead are Mutated Forms. Mutated Forms not really releasing anymore because it used to be, I think it might have been 4 at one point, then there was 3 of them, then there were 2, and then Alex moved to Australia, and now there's 1. So you may see some tracks from AJ Mutated, which is AJ from Mutated Forms. Anyway, when it was just Alex and AJ, they made an album and an EP for Spearhead. This one features Luke Truth. It's called They Know. I've got the stems for this as well. I was Total Science were going to remix this, and they kind of got stuck with it. Anyway, I love this. Check it. Paul Blind Soul remix is actually out on Blue Martin's label, so it ain't coming out today. I've got to say, I know it's on my own label, but Mutated Forms Let You Go EP, which this is from, and Mutated Forms Holograms album, I think they got a little bit missed because they're so sick.
station is.
Oh, just noticed Phil Favour tuned in. Big up, Phil Favour. Hope you're well, boss. Somebody else I haven't played yet today, who's been a massive part of Spearhead, and that is the amazing Laura Pacheco Hill. So this is Confessions featuring Frank H. Carter III, bit of a mouthful, and I hope you were. Frank is so flipping sick though. Done a track with him as well. Me and Willem did before we were Vanguard Project. So come and join us, called I Believe. This is the break remix of a track called Confessions. Yeah, if you want to pop some more requests in the chat, feel free. Even if you requested already and I haven't played it, just whack them back in there. We've got half an hour left. I've got a couple I definitely want to play you, and I'll pick some more of yours as well. Utah Jazz, Love Everlasting, I will find too. There's a good Vanguard Project remix of that, one of our highest streamed tracks. Here we go then, let's let Confessions roll out.
Whatever sound my way.
Confessions then, that's from the deluxe version of Ria's Sublimation album. You can get the whole album on Spotify, and I'll add it to the list as well. I haven't heard of the Vanguard Development Project. I'll look it up. This is Love Everlasting by Utah Jazz, Vanguard Project remix. Do you know what? I would stay today and do a mix of all of these, but I've got a man coming to buy a bike. He's actually already bought it. He's just got to pick it up. I'm keeping my social distance, so I can't stick around, I'm afraid. Anyway, Love Everlasting, Vanguard Project remix, and I'll play some more of your requests. Had a lot of requests for this one earlier on, and it's one of them tracks that I know if I don't play I will get complained at, so I thought I'd play you the original version of this one. Me and Spy, if there's anybody out there, nearly gave this track to another label when we made it. I thought it was too chilled, especially the piano when it comes back in. How we wrote this one was that I got all the samples together, the vocal that it's like, and the kind of paddy thing. Carlos added the bass line and the piano. It just works. Can't believe I couldn't see it at the time. But all the best tunes, you often don't know. You don't know when you make them. But yeah, this one's done all right. Tell you now, even though this tune's long and we're running out of time, I'm going to let the whole breakdown play and I'm not going to talk. Carlos Spy on keys for that synth bit. And what a job he did. Well, people talk to me all the time about how to get a track signed and get my attention, etc., etc. And I usually say the best and only way to do it really is in person, harder in lockdown. But a couple of years back, probably about 3 years ago now, yeah, it must be because I was in the old office, somebody got in touch with me and they said, would they be able to interview me for their college dissertation about running a label and stuff and learn a little bit. I said to them if they were willing to come out to the middle of nowhere where I live, get the train out, then I'd give them a day. And a lad turned up at the station and I knew who he was a mile off because I knew it was the person waiting for me because he had a big H for hospital on his top. And anyway, he played me some tracks when he was there and I was like, these are pretty good. And he was Jack Polar and Bryson. And hence the Polar and Bryson Things I Do EP came out of that meeting. So there you go. So this, as per requested, taken from the Things I Do EP, which is all sold out. You can still get the digital, the vinyls have all gone. This is Polar and Bryson Things I Do.
Look inside myself to figure out the things I do. Now it's over.
So I say this about 100 times a week, Charlotte Haining LSB, but also I say this about 100 times a week. Check the link in the description, go and sign the Spearhead podcast. I changed the name actually of the playlist, but it's still Spearhead Presents with BCee, and the link's still in there. I will put all the tracks in it, so if you want to listen to these in their full, just head over to the Spotify playlist. Yeah, because we're running out of time and I want to get this one in. So this is a track, another Rhea vocal. This is called Still Remains, featuring Hybrid Minds. Hybrid Minds. So for ages and ages, Josh from Hybrid Minds was trying to get my attention to get signed. And I kept getting these tracks from Hybrid Minds. And I thought, at the time, there was a massive act called Hybrid. They still exist. I really liked Hybrid. They were a kind of breaks thing. And I thought, what idiot calls themselves Hybrid Minds when there's already a hybrid? I can't release something from Hybrid Minds. Anyway, kept sending me tracks, and then he sent me one with Anile, and that was really good. It ended up going on a Med School compilation. And then I was like, hang on a minute, this new stuff sounds pretty good. So I drove down to Tring to see Josh. We had dinner and agreed, all right, let's try and do an album. And that is how the Mountains album came about. Yeah, and it turned out he was a really good DJ. They kept producing really good stuff. And have gone on to do All Right too.
Some things do not fade. A little bit of you still remains. It won't go away. Love slips away. Memories change their shape. Some things do not fade. A little bit of you still remains. It won't go away. Still remains. Still remains. Still remains. A little bit of you still remains. It won't go away. Love slips away. Memories change their shape. Some things do not fade. A little bit of you still remains. It won't go away. Love slips away. My memories change their shape, but some things do not fade. A little bit of you still remains. It won't go away. Love slips away. Memories change their shape.
Wrong button.
Some things
Big up, Dan. I'm glad it's been a pick me up, mate. To be honest, I've been in a bad mood all week. Andy will agree. I almost couldn't be asked to do today, so I'm glad I did. It's been nice. Right, I'm going to cut this one short because I've got 3 more tracks to fit in, and that's going to be it for the day. I've played nothing by this artist yet, unbelievably. So, this is Red Eye's Poetry in Motion. I released Red Eye's first album on Spearhead. It was actually meant to come out on Bingo, and he had everything lined up, and then Zinc decided he wasn't going to release drum and bass anymore and was going to stop making it. He's done the odd bit since, but obviously Julian Red Eyes was pretty gutted. The good thing for me is it meant that they both came to me and said, would you be interested in releasing this album, Poetry in Motion? It wasn't quite finished, but they wrapped it up. And what an album it is. It still sounds great today. I'm going to play you 2 new things to finish, both from Spearhead. This one's Red Eye's Poetry in Motion.
Just
I'm not going to play two new things because I haven't got one of them on here. I was going to play you Willem and McLeod's Siren because it came out yesterday, but I've missed it in my update of putting these tracks on there. I'll leave it in the playlist anyway. If you haven't checked out Willem and McLeod's Siren with Leo Wood yet, do. It's flipping amazing. So I'll dig out one more old tune. Ember UK says Gremlins in the studio, something like that. In fact, me and my daughters just watched both the Gremlins films. Been reintroducing them to all the 80s films. Some of them they look at me like, why did you show us that? Some they love. Gremlins was a hit. Right, I'm going to play you another LSB tune. This one features Sanderson. There's a video for this that was made by Kenny Franklin. Really good music video. If you go to YouTube/Spearhead Records Ltd, down the page somewhere I've put all the music videos we've done in a row down there, and you can check the video out for this. It's really, really good. Bit random, but in a good way. So this is the Enei remix. I wanted to tell you something interesting about this, or at least I think it's interesting. Enei did this remix a while ago. He's obviously flipping brilliant producer, but he sent through 3 versions of it. One of them had an amazing intro, one of them had a great breakdown, and one of them had a great drop. But all 3 of them also had terrible parts. And I was having difficulty communicating with him a little bit. It was a while back, you know, messages were taking a while. And I've never actually spoken to him about this. But what I ended up doing was taking all 3 versions of his remixes, putting them into Ableton, and just chopping what I thought were the best bits and kind of redoing the transitions a little bit. So this is the Enei remix, is parts of all 3 versions of the remix he sent, chopped into one, and I think I did an okay job, but you can't notice that. Dust it off and let it go. We weren't quite doing remixes by letters back then, but he did live in Russia and the internet was dial-up. I don't think he had a tune called Overthinking when we did this. I don't know. It was ages ago. LSB, Overthinking, Enei on the remix. Video available for the original. So just before we finish, I want to just give another plug to a couple of things. If you want some merch and want to show some love and support, boom, get this. Spearheadrecords.bandcamp.com. The full shop will be relaunching next month. Now that things have settled down a bit from the COVID madness. So spearheadrecords.co.uk will relaunch properly then. In the meantime, as Bandcamp is mostly fulfilled automatically, grab some stuff from there. Also, please go and pre-order. The best way you can support us is to pre-order the album. BCee, Charlotte Haining, Life As We Know It. I'm going to finish today with another track from Life As We Know It. I haven't played on here yet. This one's called Give Me a Break. So multi-layered. I called it Give Me a Break because I couldn't find a good drum break. And then it suited the song too. So we kept that as a title. So I'm going to end with this one. Give Me a Break. I will talk over it a little bit because it's not out for ages. But please do have a listen if you like it. Go and pre-order the double vinyl pack, signed, beautiful. The image that's on Bandcamp, by the way, is just a placeholder. We haven't revealed the proper artwork yet, but it will look sick.
You saw no other way out. You'd had enough. Thought you'd let everybody down. I wish we could rewrite it, but yesterday is gone. I wish to see you smiling at me, then tomorrow could live on.
So yeah, it's hard when you write an album all with the same person. We wanted to really make sure we had a bit of variance in there. So I hope we've kind of caught the vibe that runs throughout this Life As We Know It album without it being too samey. I think it may be my best work. I don't know. Anyway, I hope you enjoy it. I'm pretty proud of it. And all the stories, like Lost and Found, this album, every single story is something from me and Charlotte care about. Deep Stories at 174 beats per minute. So you can restream this forever. I'll leave it up on the Facebook page. Best place to probably restream it is YouTube channel. I'll update that. It will appear at the top of the page. Next week I'll be back with some brand new music. I will finish sorting out my library of untidy tunes. I never thought digital tunes could get so untidy, but they can. So I'll be back next week with a few classics. I'm going to play loads of brand new stuff next week to make up for the history lesson this week. We might do this again because there's so much more stuff from 15 years of music like we didn't even touch today. But yeah, that's it for now. I hope you enjoy the rest of the weekend. We'll be doing this for a bit longer yet. I'm going to go up until September when the kids start school again. And then we might have to call it a day. But until then, I will be here every Saturday. Like I can be. I'll see you soon.